What is going on, Headliner Nation? Last week was an absolute steel-toed kick to the sack, but we're going to try to bounce back here in week 10 because after our first down week in like 6 weeks, we have still hit 40 of our last 57 picks in this show. That is 70% over the last 7 weeks. But I'm sure you agree, it feels like the NFL is drunk right now. Due to all the injuries and inconsistencies, I just find myself every single week looking at the TV going, that makes no sense. Now, like usual in this show, I'm once again going to be going through 6 players and some picks that I really like here for week 10. You can then take 3 of any of these plays, include them together on a player pick'em on Underdog, and have a chance to at least double your money. Now, before I get into the players in today's show, I got to be sure that you are all signed up on Underdog so you can come play along with us. Then, you just make your initial minimum deposit and you're good to go. But it gets better. Once you play your first $5, they're going to put $100 in bonus funds directly into your account. Play 5, get 100. That $100 in bonus funds will allow you to play along with us for the next few weeks on house money. And if you win big on those bonus funds, that's cash in your pocket. They constantly have promos running each and every week, and just for the $100 in free bonus funds alone, it's an absolute no-brainer. Now, there's links to all that down below in the description, but now let's dive in and see the players that we're taking a look at here in week 10. And the first player up is Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons, and I have yet to find anyone that truly loves international games from a fantasy perspective. Now, typically, players are out of their normal routines, and things are a lot more vanilla on offense, but it's also not uncommon for running backs to be utilized a little bit more in the passing game, since the downfield passing game may be slightly simplified. Well, that works perfectly this week for Bijan against Indianapolis in Berlin. Bijan is coming off a season-high 10 targets and 8 receptions last week against New England, but he could be in line for even more usage this week, and I will tell you why. Indianapolis just brought in Sauce Gardner from the New York Jets, and while a lot of people don't view him as one of the league's best, he has still played really well this season. He has allowed only 180 yards receiving all year long, and you have to think that he sees a lot of Drake London in week 10. That could easily lead to Penix looking more towards his number 2 pass catching option, Bijan Robinson. So let's head over to Underdog and try to take advantage of this. If you pull up Bijan, you're going to see that his current receiving total is set to 43.5 yards. Now, that is a total he has hit in 4 of his last 5 games played this season, so he can for sure hit it again. But remember, we're trying to boost our odds of at least doubling or tripling our money. So we're going to take that total and drop it down to 34.5 at a 0.76 multiplier and take the higher. Yes, this will lower the overall payout at the end, but it's definitely going to increase our chances of hitting. Now, by dropping it down, it becomes a total he's hit in 75% of his games this season, but it also becomes a total that he has cleared a lot more easily. It's a total he's also hit in 100% of his games against the Colts. Let's also keep in mind that Indy is one of the best overall offenses in the NFL. If Atlanta falls behind, that means more throwing and more potential targets going the way of Bijan Robinson. Now, after him is Lamar Jackson, quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. And when you think about Lamar Jackson, a lot of people still think about the mobility. But did you know he has only gone over 50 yards rushing 1 time all year long? He's only gone over 70 yards rushing 4 times in his last 22 regular season games. So given the fact that Lamar remains one of the highest scoring quarterbacks in fantasy, it has to mean that he's doing a lot with his arm. Now, Lamar has thrown for at least 2 touchdowns in 13 of his last 15 games. He's also thrown for 3 or more touchdowns in 3 of his 5 games this year. Now he gets a matchup going up against Minnesota, and they have allowed 4 straight quarterbacks to throw for multiple touchdowns against them. Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and even Dylan Gabriel. So now, let's head over to Underdog. Let's try to take advantage of this. And if you pull up Lamar Jackson, you're going to see his current passing touchdown total is set to 1.5. Now, for most quarterbacks, you can't drop this down. You can only boost it up. But what Underdog does is they just lower the multiplier from the start, since it's a high likelihood that he's going to get it. So we're going to take that line of 1.5 passing touchdowns at a 0.76 multiplier and take the higher. With all the injuries over the years, Lamar and the Ravens know he needs to stay healthy and on the field for them to make a run each and every season. This is where pocket passer Lamar comes into play. This is something he has hit with regularity, and the matchup is great for him this week to throw multiple touchdowns. Now after Lamar, it's Tez Johnson, wide receiver of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Tampa bye may be over, but that does not mean they are any healthier. Mike Evans is still out. News just came out that Chris Godwin isn't even close, and Bucky still isn't practicing. That right there tells you that Emeka Egbuka and Tez Johnson are once again about to be the top two receiving options for Tampa. Now, the Patriots' top defensive back, Christian Gonzalez, has been in the concussion protocol, but all signs are pointing to him being cleared and able to play this weekend. You have to think that he and Egbuka go head-to-head, so at times, Baker's going to need a plan B. That plan B is Tez Johnson. Tez has played in 70% of the snaps over his last 3 games, and he hasn't had less than 43 yards in a game since getting his shot 4 games ago. So now, let's head over to Underdog and take advantage of it. If you pull up Tez Johnson, you're going to see that his current receiving total is set to 42.5 yards. Now that's a total he has hit in 4 straight games, so it is for sure doable. But we want to better our odds, because he's been close to this line numerous times here in recent history. He's had 45 yards and 43 yards in 2 of his last 3 games. So we're going to take that total and drop it down to 34.5 receiving yards at a 0.78x multiplier and take the higher. Now, it's still a total he's hit in 4 straight games, but now it becomes a total he has hit a lot easier. On the season, Tez is averaging 14.2 yards per reception, so he's going to need 3 receptions or so to hit this 34.5 yard total. He's had at least 4 receptions in 3 of his last 4 games played, and he's also had a reception of 20 yards or more in 3 of his last 4 games as well. Baker is going to need him against New England. Since that running game can't get anything going on the ground, they're going to have to throw once again. Now, before I get into the next few guys, I just want to let you all know that the process that I use in these videos that has led to a lot of success, I actually do this for the NBA as well. We have seen our channel members cashing tickets in our Discord almost daily in the NBA. Now, I have personally cashed 21 NBA tickets over the last 10 days alone. So when football ends, this fun is going to continue. Now, obviously, I can't be posting NBA plays on a fantasy football channel. People would absolutely riot. But if you're interested in playing those along with us, be sure to become a channel member by hitting the join button just below the video. Now, if you become a member of Full Chub or Excessive Chub, you'll get access to a certain section of our Discord to see all these NBA and NFL picks every single day and week. I'm just throwing that out there for those of you who are interested, but okay, let's get back to a few more NFL plays for Week 10. Now, up next is Dalton Schultz, tight end of the Houston Texans, and I typically try to avoid pass catchers with backup quarterbacks, but sometimes I make exceptions. The usage of Schultz has just been huge as of late, and it didn't change when Davis Mills came into the game last week for CJ Stroud. Schultz has had 21 targets and 17 receptions over his last 3 games alone, but let's be honest, a lot of this has to do with the matchup going up against Jacksonville, a Jags defense that has really struggled to stop opposing tight ends. The Vegas tight ends last week, Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, they absolutely crushed this defense with 15 receptions. Seattle tight ends had 4. The Chiefs had 7. Cincy had 6, and Schultz himself had 5 receptions in a game against Jacksonville earlier in the season. But you also need to understand the type of quarterback that Davis Mills is. He's not some deep ball guy. He is a dink and dunk chain mover. The last time he started for Houston back in 2021, he targeted his tight ends on average over 8 times a game. So let's head over to Underdog and take advantage of this. If you pull up Dalton Schultz, you're going to see his current reception total is set to 4.5. Now that is something he has been able to hit in 5 out of his last 6 games played this season, so he could for sure do it again. But I want to better our odds, so I'm going to drop it down to 3.5 receptions at a 0.79x multiplier and take the higher. By doing that, it'll give us a little bit of a cushion to hopefully clear this line a little bit easier. Now, I contemplated going with his yardage total, but with the short dump-offs, I would really hate life if he ended the game with 4 catches for 20 yards and we end up missing. So given the fact that he has 17 receptions over his last 3 games, expecting 4 this week in this situation is pretty likely. Now up next is DeVon Achane, running back of the Miami Dolphins, and I don't know if it feels like this to you or not, but doesn't it seem like Miami gives the ball to Achane even when they really shouldn't be? Down by 2 scores in the second half? No worries, we're going to hand it off to DeVon Achane. How about the second drive of the game? No worries, we're going to run it twice with Achane and then throw it to him on third down. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, I love it, but his usage is huge, it feels like. He's had at least 16 touches in every game with the exception of week 1. Now, we also know that Ollie Gordon is questionable to play, and Miami is going to need anything that they can possibly get from DeVon Achane to have a chance at beating the Buffalo Bills. Now, Miami also needs to try to keep the ball away from the Buffalo offense. They can't get in a shootout against Buffalo. They won't win it. And it's not like the Buffalo defense is impossible to run on. They rank 28th in rushing yards allowed in the NFL. Guys like Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne, Bucky Irving, Rashad White, and Kyron Williams have all rushed for at least 50 yards against the Buffalo Bills. So let's head over to Underdog and see what we can do here this week. If you pull up DeVon Achane, you're going to see his current rushing total is set to 60.5. Now that's a total he has hit in 6 of his last 7 games played, so it's for sure doable. But he's been right on that number in 3 games this season. So let's better our odds and drop it down to 49.5 at a 0.72x multiplier and take the higher. Now it becomes a total he has hit in 7 of his 9 games this year, but it's also a total he has hit in every single game in his career against Buffalo. With the average of 5 yards per carry, he's only going to need around 10 carries to hit this. He's averaging 13 carries a game, so he'll have a decent shot of hitting that 50-yard mark in week 10. Now lastly, it's Christian McCaffrey, running back of the San Francisco 49ers, and it's death, taxes, and targets going the way of CMC. He's had 80 targets, 61 receptions, 626 yards receiving in just 9 games this year. There are only 6 players in the NFL with more receiving yards than Christian McCaffrey. It's Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jamar Chase, George Pickens, Puka Nacua, Justin Jefferson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. It is safe to say that no other running back in the NFL is as involved in their team's passing game as CMC is. Matchups haven't mattered. The only thing that's mattered is most of the top-end pass catchers in San Francisco have been hurt, and we have seen CMC against this Rams team already this year. A few weeks ago, he racked up 82 yards receiving through the air against them. So let's head over to Underdog. If you pull up CMC, you're going to see his current receiving yard total is set to 51.5. That's a total he has hit in 8 of his 9 games this season, so for sure doable, but let's better our chances since this is a pretty solid Rams defense. We're going to drop it down to 39.5 receiving yards and take the higher. That then becomes a line that he has cleared easily in 8 of his 9 games played. He's also averaging over 10 yards per reception on the season, so he could hit this total with just 4 receptions. He's had at least 4 receptions in all but 1 game this year, and he had 8 against the Rams just a couple weeks ago. So there you have 6 picks here for week 10, and any combination of any 3 of these picks on Underdog is going to give you a chance of at least doubling your money this week. Now, like I normally like to do, I want to have a little bit of fun as well. Let's try to put together another touchdown ticket this week. So for this week's touchdown ticket, I'm going DeVon Achane against Buffalo, DeAndre Swift against the Giants, and Jonathan Taylor against Atlanta. I have all of them to score an anytime touchdown, and if they do, we could be able to 4x our money, so fingers crossed. But there you have it, another week of 9 picks total. And if this was enough to get you all hot and bothered, remember, become a channel member. Hit that join button just below the video. Become a member of Full Chub or Excessive Chub, and you'll be having so many picks each week, you won't know what to do with them. But not just that, by becoming a member of our channel, you get a massive discount to NextPlay. Now, typically for services like NextPlay, people are paying hundreds of dollars a month. That's not the case here. We don't pander to that crowd. No, we provide a service that will cost less than a fast food meal a month. They have super high hit rates, the plays are for all different books and sites, and it's something that a lot of people are enjoying. Now, links to everything are down below in the description, so be sure to check it out. I wish you all nothing but the best of luck here in week 10. Have a great weekend.